शक्नोम्यहं कर्तुं यत्किमपि मह्यं विविधानि तन्त्राणि शतद्वादशानि वेदयितुमिमं संसारपाशं चतुरोऽहं किन्तु तन्त्रजाले कथं न शक्नोम्यहं कर्तुं यत्किमपि मह्यं न हि शिवस्नेहं न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान करुणाकर न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव श्रुत्वा सर्वाणि मधुराणि वचनानि दृष्ट्वा सर्वाणि महदर्शनानि ज्ञात्वा च सर्वाणि मधुचेतनानि नष्टोऽहं तस्य वैभवेन अनभूवयं नान्य अस्य समान श्रुत्वा सर्वाणि मधुराणि वचनानि दृष्ट्वा सर्वाणि महदर्शनानि ज्ञात्वा च सर्वाणि मधुचेतनानि नष्टोऽहं तस्य वैभवेन अनभूवयं नान्य अस्य समान न हि शिवस्नेहं न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान करुणाकर न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव विश्वासं मा कुरु निश्चल शिवम् अस्य निश्चलत्वेन आकृष्टोऽहम् अयमेव मार्गम् इति अमन्येऽहम् अवगतो अधुना अयमेव अन्त्यम् विश्वासं मा कुरु निश्चल शिवम् अस्य निश्चलत्वेन आकृष्टोऽहम् अयमेव मार्गम् इति अमन्येऽहम् अवगतो अधुना अयमेव अन्त्यम् न हि शिवस्नेहं न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान करुणाकर न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव न हि शिवस्नेहं न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान करुणाकर न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव
You are not here just to witness the consecration, you are participating in the consecration.
I could clearly see that person who was lying there more than 2000 years ago, a left leg was missing from knee down.
Subterranean spaces like this, where beings who do not belong to this planet have dwelt. This is something that you do within yourself, so that you're able to slip behind the mud.
If you do necessary work, the energy body of a person can be made into two and still kept alive.
Ghanas are most important for us because they have played a huge role in shaping human consciousness, possibly human body also. As a build-up to this Linga Sanchalana Kriya, we just take away the Sanchita, that means we've destroyed your future.
If you master the art of leaving yourself out of your own life, 15 minutes shunya itself can lead to enlightenment.
ठगनी हम जानी जानी, ठगनी हम जानी जानी, तीर गुण फास लिए कर डोले, तीर गुण फास लिए कर डोले, बोले मधुरी वाणी वाणी, माया ये माया माया, माया महा, ठगनी हम जानी जानी, ठगनी हम जानी जानी,
शिवनागे बंधना योगेश्वरा शिवनागे बंधना Shivanage bandhano Lingeshwara Shivanage bandhano Jagadishvara Bandhano Madheva Bahurupiya Kandano Kandhano Ijiviya Kandhano Kandhano Ijiviya Yanjiva Veundhano Shivarupiya Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita Tandhano Tandhano Gnanamrita. Namaskaram. Mysticism is not about magic, nor is it the domain of the curiosity seekers. Definitely not a Harry Potter sort of potboiler. It is a consequence of a lifetime committed to deeper dimensions of creation, a life deeply committed to creation, beyond personal well-being, beyond personal fulfillments, pleasures and comforts that everybody strives for. If your commitment is for the depth of your existence, this is called spirituality or spiritual process. But when commitment goes beyond individual quest for meaning, substance or even liberation and acquires the quality of just pure quest, when knowing becomes more significant than attaining, mysticism evolves. Then every breath, every sound, well, every atom becomes a doorway to the beyond. Beyond means that which is beyond physical and psychological realms, where most human beings spend their lives in the processes of physiology and psychology. Takes you This takes you to a land that is beyond good and bad, meaning beyond polarities. This dimension beyond polarities can be psychologically destructive if you have not strived to achieve a rock-solid psychological stability within yourself. Well, your mental process thrives on what is right and wrong, what is up and down, what is male and female, what is God and devil. Your entire psychological process thrives on polarities. If you do not strive, if you do not do necessary work to tame this body or to free this body from its play of polarities, your entire life can be just engaged in this drama of the imagined two, when in creation there is only one. Or in other words, once you invest in the play of polarities, not that you cannot play, once you invest and entangle yourself in the play of polarities, you have made a reality into an illusion. This is what Maya means. Maya does not mean creation is an illusion. It means that you have made a reality into an illusion. When you make reality into an illusion, well, sometimes you have a good trip sometimes. But when the bad trip comes, it's another story. Or most people, even if the bad trip does not come, they live in the fear of bad trips. What will happen to me? This occupies a whole lifetime. This insecurity and the efforts to overcome this insecurity, either through financial structures, family structures, relationships, love affairs, so many other things, occupies life. So mysticism it's a madness, at least in the ordinary understanding of the logical mind, it is madness. You must understand, in the past few centuries, many scientists have been persecuted, many killed, simply because their quest was really revealing aspects which threatens the existing status quo of the mind. This status quo of the mind, most human beings understand as peace. You come to terms with your silly arrangements, so you are at peace. I have nothing against anything. It's just that a human being has been structured for possibilities. Human being is a possibility. What a human being is not determined by his or her birth. It is determined by how they open up in their life and to what they open up in their life. When this is the nature of our life, which is unique on this planet, all other creatures, their life is determined by their birth. Here also, even among human beings, many people who probably should have been born as some other species, either by accident or whatever quirk of nature, they were born as human beings and they try to fix you by your birth. You're a woman, so this is all you can do. You're black, so that is all you can do. I'm brown. I can do anything, because nobody defined the brown. What the white can be, what the black can be, they defined. Brown they forgot, and that is a blessing. Or by caste or creed, many people for centuries or millennia have made efforts to fix human life by birth. This is reverse evolution. They want to reverse the evolutionary process, which has delivered us to this place where we are not determined by birth. We have to make ourselves who we are. We have to make our life what it is. We have to make our experience what we want. So, mysticism largely has become television entertainment. I have, in the last nearly 4 decades, I have made many efforts with people, many wonderful people have come by, experienced certain things, many of them transformed their lives wonderfully, but still a large segment is fixed by the society, fixed by their birth, or fixed by their gender. Either your body comes in the way, or your mind comes in the way, or your parentage comes in the way, or your caste, creed, religion comes in the way, or your stupid mind comes in the way. How to keep these things aside is what sadhana is about. The entire sadhana in this direction is all about how to keep this body aside, how to keep this mind aside, and in the process, everything else that we have acquired aside. Keeping something aside does not mean you're going to lose it. Those who are smart have kept their money in the bank. Some are tying it around their waist and walking around in fear. If you keep it somewhere, it'll be safe. If you carry it on your head all the time, one thing is it's heavy, another thing you may really lose it. mysticism is not the domain of just a few fortunate ones somewhere. It is not the domain of cave-dwelling people. No, I didn't mean say a caveman, I mean the yogis in the caves. Mysticism is a possibility in every human being's life. It is just that it demands attention, involvement, dedication and commitment, which have become scarce in most people. I've been very fondly calling that 21st century generation as U-turn generation. If they made a U-turn into themselves, that would be fantastic. Not in is the only way out, no, not in that sense U-turn. U-turn, U-turn. This is because the society has cultured them this way. Modern societies have put the fear of commitment in your head or in your hearts. Don't commit yourself. Why? Be free. Be free means be entangled in your own soup. The physiological soup and the psychological soup sometimes tastes good, I'm not against it. But you want to be a blob in the soup, or you want to be something more than that, is a choice that one must exercise. So I heard that there are over 4,000 questions. So we're going to be here for a few months. I hope you come prepared. You know, those 7 sages sat in front of Adiyogi for months on end, years on end. Even if all the 7 asked 7 questions each, it would be over in a day, but this is 4,000. So, because the questioners will be very anxious, let's go to the questions. Namaskaram. You need to unmute yourself.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Okay.
I am Pranav Rathi from Mumbai. Very grateful to be a part of this program. So my question to you is, want to make Bhairavi a living presence, walks, lives and guides me like Chinnamasta or Ramanujan the mathematician says. How can I make it happen? Can you give us some sadhana for it? Also, how can we explore Rakinis, Dakinis and other such dimensions of life? Namaskar.
Hey, what's your name? You, yeah. What? Tanushree. Tanushree? Tanushree, I will translate this question to you. This guy from Mumbai, what's the name you said? I'm sorry, Rahul, huh?
Pranav.
Pranav. Pranav asked this question. Let's say he's asking this question to you. Tanushree, I want you to live with me, walk with me, breathe with me, love me, whatever, and guide me. Like how that Susanna does. Like how that Ramanujan's wife, how she does, like that. So, I need to know what are the tricks with which I can woo you. And also, I would like to explore in the neighborhood Raki, Daki and Bimba. What is your answer, Tanushree? She's… you're lucky you're in Mumbai and she's here. That's what your question meant. So, you need to understand this. When we create a deity, a goddess, why are we not calling every creature a god or a goddess? Though they also have an element of the creator in them, there is nobody who is without it. Whether it's an ant or an earthworm, they also have an element of creation. But why are we not referring to them as gods and goddesses? Though we sometimes bow down to them because when we recognize, we call a certain form a goddess because we have tweaked that form to a place which is beyond what you normally consider as a life. Let's say a woman. A normal woman is in a certain phase of her evolution and development. Well, she may be a wonderful person, but she comes with her limitations. She may be as beautiful as she is, but she comes with her limitations. She may be many possibilities, but still she comes with her limitations. So you create a form, a life, which is beyond these limitations that normally defines an individual human being, whatever they may be. So when you approach such an entity, or let me say for your understanding, such a woman, you don't go and tell her these things that you just said. That, you know, I want you to be like Chinnamasta. Well, I made her into Susanna, but what's the difference? The names are only cultural, all right? And you don't tell her, I also want to explore a few other devis around you. This is the end of it. This is the end of the love affair. At least in the initial phases of a love affair, sometimes you might have told somebody, you're my goddess. But when she began to bless you and rule you, and guide you with every step, because you asked for guidance. Then of course, goddess became something else. So when you approach an entity or a deity or a devi like this, you don't say all these things, this is coming from reading this and that. This is a cultural tragedy in India. People know too many little things and they know nothing. Too many things, all the names, all the stuff, all the terminology they know. But experientially, very few people. So, if you want Bhairavi to live with you, walk with you, be with you, then she must be the sole focus of your life. That's the only way. She will walk with you, live with you, breathe with you, and if that happens, you don't have to worry about guidance, there's no such need. If a goddess lives with you, you have no need for guidance. Many times, whether it's a simple plan being drawn on some building plan or some bigger plans being done, people who have the misfortune of being close around me, they find sometimes, some have come to terms with it, some still struggle, that sometimes the decisions are too there because I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not looking at anything. Whatever my partner says, I'm just saying, this is it. As if it's my decision. No, I can take that much advantage of him because he puts me through endless toil. So, and he's never been wrong, never led me into any situation where I will fail. So, this looks like absurd level of confidence. No, it is a very… it is the significance of clarity, that you're not cluttered with yourself. This is what is needed. If you want Devi to live with you, walk with you, breathe with you, then you should not be cluttered with yourself. Now, not only yourself, you also have all these other affairs going. Raki, Daki and Bimba. No, she won't walk with you, she won't even look at you. With all the three eyes, she'll be looking away. It takes a certain level of wooing not to trap her, wooing her not for your pleasure or purpose of your own, but for the purpose of removing yourself from the way. If you're not cluttered with yourself, she will. And when she does, well, life becomes more challenging. Not more… If you're looking for a more easy life, choose somebody in Mumbai. I hear Mumbai girls are very flexible. Choose somebody in Mumbai. You don't choose Bhairavi for an easy, comfortable life. You choose Bhairavi because you want to burn. You want to burn with a fire which takes you beyond life and death, not because you want to be comfortable. So, you know, in India, before they marry you, they check the horoscope, they hire these days they hire a private detective and some social media expert to unlock your WhatsApp and Signal and Instagram and look at what all you have done in the last 5 years. Then you've been only smoking marijuana, then they say, okay, what to do? No, I'm talking about Mumbai. So, the standards of communication and marriage are, it's an evolving situation in the world. But with her, it's uncompromising. She's not flexible. She's powerful, but not flexible. She doesn't make your life comfortable. She elevates you. If you enjoy high spaces, it'll be wonderful. But if you have fear of heights, she's not the one for you. Because elevation means altitude. When you are in high altitude, you must leave all your attitudes because it doesn't work. It doesn't work there. If you do poof, poof, maybe that's the last poof. So, the names you're mentioning, Chinnamasta, if she's your old friend, she's not a pretty one, not sweet to anybody. So, don't even take those names because these are all powerful forms, should be invoked only if you're ready for it. It's like you pick up something very powerful that you don't know how to handle, that's not necessarily going to be good for you. It may be wonderful in somebody else's hands, but in your hands it could be a disaster simply because you not geared yourself for that. This one thing which is a big problem in today's world is everybody wants to start their alphabet learning from Z. First Z, then one day we'll come to A. No, those of you who are genuinely, if you're genuinely interested in exploring these dimensions, Devi is mysticism, all right? Where there was just a rock, those of you who've been part of consecrations, you have seen what was just a rock a few hours before, within a few hours or maybe a couple of days, it becomes a living, throbbing space. So, this is a powerful happening. You do not invoke these things, you can always go and take blessings and come. There are benefits, but you do not invoke these deities to live with you, walk with you, unless you gear yourself for that kind of situation in your life. That, as I said earlier, if you want to enter dimensions of life which are beyond polarities, which we are referring to generally as mysticism, then the most important thing is physiologically and psychologically you must bring absolute stability, both in body and mind. If you do not create this, you will you will either lose your mind, which is very easy, or even your body. So, you must check the horoscope before you take these steps. Why I call these horoscopes or horoscopes is, once again, this is a way of determining human life by birth. That's not how this is made. Every one of you, I'm saying.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
Shubho Vijayadashami. I am Somanath Toy from Bhatanagar, West Bengal. Sadhguru, I have heard of tantrics doing Panchamurti sadhana or Part sadhana. Is it real? And if it is, out of aspiration of which dimension do they do it?
Panchamunda. You know what's a munda? Munda means the skull. Panchamunda means 5 skulls. No, don't imagine things. They usually use the 5 skulls or the skull of a frog, of a snake, a frog, a fox, or there are some who have used the tiger skulls, some who have used the dog skulls, and then a human skull. Usually, ladies, don't worry, it's a male skull. Saumyanath, you are Saumyanath, you know what that means? Why are you talking about Panchamunda? This is for Raudranaths. If you are a Rudranath, then Panchamunda. Saumyanath, not Panchamunda sadhana. No. For you, we will teach you something nice, which will settle you, make you a beautiful human being. You want to sit on 5 skulls and a dead body, a corpse, and do sadhana? Anyway, this is an academic question, this is not for personal pursuit, I can see this when I see you. So, why this Panchamunda? Well, a snake, a frog, a fox, and either a dog or a tiger or something like that, and a human skull. In a way, this is this is the definition, or this is the ascending order, not exactly according to modern evolutionary theory, but there is a relationship of this ascendance from snake to frog, frog to fox, and fox to a bigger animal, and then human being. And this is also because the different Devis are related to this. There have been traditionally various Devis who are represented by certain animals, or at least they were their vehicles. You know, Chamundeshwari rides a tiger, Dhakini rides a fox. There are other ones which are minor, today not so much in not so much in currency today. But with these deities, which were created for 5 different purposes, and also the 5 aspects of life, just that, see for example, there are Panchavayus. You're learning through the yogic system, the Panchavayus, how to use it for your benefit. There is somebody else who want to use the same Panchavayus not for their benefit, but for a freaky exploration of what's happening where. So this exploration, even scientific exploration, sometimes is very cruel. You know, in the last generation, scientists, proper modern scientists I'm talking about, both in Europe and in Asia, they have done experiments on living human beings. There have been scientists, I'm telling you the extreme version. This is not to in any way deride the scientific community, but I'm saying your quest can become cruel. Wanting to know many things before modern technology came in, people have cut open living human beings to see how different organs function. This entire problem of trying to guess when a woman is pregnant, whether she is carrying a male or a female child when there was no sonogram, many women have been cut open when they were alive just to see. It's been done. Not in ones and twos, but in big numbers, it's been done. So, if your quest is not controlled or directed by your fundamental sense of humanity, it can become very cruel. So, Panchamunda and these there are related practices which are not necessarily against anybody, but if they need a skull, you know, if you have one. Hello? Can I borrow your skull if I say, will you give it to me? You're not, because you have no quest. You have no value for knowing. So you're not willing to give me your skull? Maybe you're a frog. Even a frog values its skull very much. You may be a snake values its skull very much, but we take it when we want. Nobody waits for a snake to die and collect its skull. They will cut its head and take its skull. If nobody is watching, there is no law enforcement, they will cut yours and take it. Both scientists and tantrics, both will do this. Yes, they have done it in the past. Human sacrifices have happened all over the place, and any number of human beings have been sacrificed to the scientific quest also. So it's extremely important. Your quest is tempered by your humanity, very, very important. Otherwise, quest, just quest, pure quest without any sense of humanity, any sense of involvement with life around you. See, you want to know something, either because of your involvement or simply because of your wantonness. There have been both kinds of explorers, isn't it? There have been explorers who wanted to know, so they went all over the world, writing books about their travels. There are explorers who went all over the world, looking at people, killing wantonly, collecting heads, collecting noses. You know, explorers have collected cut off ears from different races and carried it home just to say how people look. They couldn't carry the whole body, so they just carried ears from different parts of India. It's happened. So, it's very important, your quest must be humanized. Otherwise, your quest will become counterproductive. Maybe it is still useful. They tell me even all these horrible experiments that were done on human beings during World War II, both in Germany and Asia, or in Europe and Asia, all those scientific results are still valued by the scientific community. Though they don't approve the methodology, the knowledge is valuable. So, forever, your ancestors were monkeys, hello? But cutting up live monkeys has been a part of science for a long time. Only now, some kind of closure is being brought to that, otherwise, in the last century, I don't know how many million monkeys, we have cut them up, trying to understand how their heart beats or whatever. So the knowledge acquired from that, all of us are benefiting. But the pain that we have caused is something that we don't want to take responsibility for. Life doesn't work like that. Life comes with both. So, you don't pursue Panchamunda, okay? Otherwise, you have to grow a pet frog in your house and wait for him to die of old age. A pet snake in your house, wait for him to die of old age. And of course, a fox and a tiger. In Bengal, it's possible. A tiger pet, No, don't go in the direction of Panchamunda. It's a different kind of process. Not that there is no value to it, but there may be value, There may be a lot of value because, I have been accused of these things by certain clowns who call themselves journalists sometimes. Full-time clowns, part-time journalists, I mean. At one time, this went on that I am stealing people's kidneys. So, the accusation was, I am stealing kidneys and exporting it to America. So actually one journalist came and asked me, is it true you're stealing kidneys and exporting it to America? I said, I'm not finding enough harvest, so I'm just having it for my breakfast. Whether you export it or have it for breakfast, either in terms of money or in terms of nourishment, there is some value. But is that the way you want to do life? That's a different matter. But after some time, I discovered they were not clowns, they were not journalists, they were just very devious and clever people, because then we found in the local villages nobody wants to come and work with us because we're going to steal their kidneys. So, then I realized this is a plot. Anyway, don't wait, you'll have to run a zoo to do Panchamunda. But if you want to sit on a dead body and ride, well, the question that Soumyanath asked is, what are their aspirations? Why are they doing such things? See, human aspiration for power is limitless. In search of power, somebody makes money. In search of power, somebody, does scientific research. In search of power, somebody educates themselves. In search of power, somebody stands for election. In search of power, somebody picks up a gun. So, human search for power is endless. Panchamunda or similar practices are also about that. They want to acquire powers which will give them control over life around them. What will you do controlling people around you? What will you do, I'm asking? What do you do controlling all the idiots around you, I'm asking? What will you achieve? Because the goal of life is liberation, not control. To be free from oneself, to be free from all the rubbish that we acquire, to be free from the ways of the body and the ways of the mind, to be free from the ways of the many species through which we evolved, the animal nature within us. To be free from the polarities of life, not to get power over them. No point. Rudranath? No, you have not changed your name, Saumyanath. So, let's leave that aspect because that is more about acquiring powers. I've never been involved in such things. I've met people who have been involved in such things, but you know, I think I've already told you this, probably it is already on the exclusive, must be, I think, because I don't have membership, they have not let me see it. You know, there was a time I'm too intrigued about, everybody is talking about ghosts and they saw something moving here, something moving there, I'm keen on seeing it. So I went and spent… obvious place to go and spend time is the cremation grounds. I went and sat there and sat there. Damn things never came. Only dead bodies came and people cried, do this and set fire. But though they cry so much, nobody has the patience. I've never seen one cremation where people will sit through for… Now these days they sit through because it's electric crematorium, it burns quickly. Time is valuable, you know, not for the dead, for the living. So those days all firewood burning, and as the firewood burns, this is what happens. No, very similar kind of sound, dubuk it'll go. When dubuk it goes, people think the head will burst. Lot of people believe when you cremate, the head will burst. Head doesn't burst. It is just that when all the fluids begin to burn and certain pressures are created, boop, it'll go, just like this. They enacted it very well. Just a few seconds early, but good. So, you must understand the weakest or the most delicate part of your skeletal system is your neck. Just pieces of bone put together, there's no one bone sticking out to hold your head in place. So the moment the flesh and the skin burns and this boop goes, usually the head will disentangle itself from the body, but the rest of it is still burning and it'll roll around, buduk-duk-duk. You know, people who have wild imaginations think, okay, it's come. And head is bouncing all over the place and with fireball, all this. But you know, I'm just looking, not imagining anything. So I see goddamn head rolling away and all the relatives are gone. So what to do? Head is burning separately, body is burning separately. I've always tried to put things together. So it's hot, burning hot. So you take a stick and poke it and take it and put it back on the body. And the firewood arrangement, depending on how well they've done it, sometimes it stays, sometimes the whole thing will go like this. Funny things happen after you're dead. Today it's an electric or a gas crematorium, you go in and come out as ash. It's more efficient, otherwise it used to be so. Well, if you're buried, lot more funny things will happen. If you're buried inside a coffin, metal coffin as it's done these days, oh, really funny things happen. I don't want to go into it. But I went to all these places to see all these ghosts that everybody seems to be seeing except me. So they said some places are haunted, so I went to those places. They said this house is haunted. Even recently somebody said some house is haunted in Bangalore. I said, let me buy it, give it to me for 25% of the price, I'm buying it. They said, no, 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 it's haunted, but money when it comes to money, spirits also will evaporate. So, then I go to all these haunted houses and seek permission to sleep there, hoping I'll meet them. They say, in this house definitely this woman is walking like this, she speaks like this, she screams like this, even the neighbors heard the sounds, and the door opens and closes by itself. Well, when I go there, no goddamn door opens by itself or closes by itself. I'm waiting for it to open, close, it doesn't. No ghost came. Then I went to another guy who was saying every Amavasya, he feeds the ghosts with his… cuts open his thumb and feeds his blood to the ghost, and actually his thumb is all half eaten up, almost like that. So looking at his hand, here there's a living proof, you know. So I went with him, 2 Amavasyas I went with him. When I go, the damn ghost doesn't come. He says, no, today it's not coming. Then I went to another guy who was having bottles, brown color, amber-colored bottles. He said in that he has caught a few ghosts and cocked them up and kept. So I befriended him. He was also working as an officer in Mysore City Corporation, but in the evenings he was a tantric, wore a black robe, pata. So I went there, befriended him, sat with him and talked to him. He said all kinds of weird things. I was just waiting to steal one bottle. He had maybe 15 to 18 bottles there. One ghost won't hurt him, okay? It's an empty bottle, I'm not stealing any valuable thing, it's an empty bottle, but there's a ghost in it. But he was so cautious about it, he never let me anywhere near the bottles. But one thing he did, he drew a kolam, you know, a rangoli, and in the 5 corners he put 5 eggs. All the 5 eggs blew. I said, okay, what is this? He said, you know, the spirits came and I said, okay, and this really intrigued me because I saw this, they were all far away, almost spread out across, you know, something like 8 to 9 square feet column. All the 5 eggs blew. There's no way he could plant some small explosive in an egg, there's no such possibility, they were simply ordinary eggs. And they blew, chicken eggs. Then I was thinking, I just looking at this, what is this? Then I went into the backyard, I was just walking up and down, thinking and looking at everything. Then I looked at a guava that was hanging from the tree and it fell. Then I did one more fell. Then I knew I can just knock off the guavas just with a clap. Then I brought a friend of mine and said, "Hey, you idiot, watch this." I was just 17, 18 maybe. So I told him, "Look at it, which fruit do you want?" "That one." It fell. He said, "What?" I said, "Yep." Then I noticed from head to toe in my body, a certain revulsion went through which I cannot put words into, I cannot describe it. A certain level of revulsion went through my system that I knew I will never again use these things like this. Such a deep level of disgust, which is not mental or emotional, just chemically, a deep revulsion and disgust went through my whole system. And I knew this is not it. So I never went to that guy again, I didn't want his ghost in the bottle. And well, I'm telling you this because there are many kinds of explorations. What is that exploration which leads to your liberation is one thing. And what is that exploration which benefits all life is another thing. And what is that exploration which simply reveals, need not necessarily benefit anybody, simply reveals certain things. These things do not come under this type of sadhana where things are done to acquire something, to attain certain powers so that it can be used in many different ways. Well, I'm still clapping my hands, but not to knock you down, for a different purpose altogether. Because this is not power, this is a sacrifice of your own life. That's what it is. So it's very important, when you explore mysticism, you don't get gobbled by it. There are many people who have invested themselves in these type of sadhanas and they've been tortured and eaten by those same devis that they were worshipping or trying to get power over, or the same spirits. Any number of situations have been like that because when you try to dominate something, you don't always win. You don't always win when you try to, subdue something or dominate something. Well, it may subdue you or it may dominate you. So that is not the nature of mysticism we're talking about. Unfortunately, that also falls under mysticism or occult, as it is said. But in a loose usage of the word or term mysticism, all of it comes under that. See, cutting a monkey is also a science. A surgeon opening up your heart and fixing it is also science. When it's evening, when it should be dark, it is lit, this is also science. We can drop a bomb and really light you up, that is also science. Yes. So, how you explore it, where you want to take it, as I said earlier, first deeply invested in your humanity before you touch anything powerful. Because only if you're invested in your humanity, whatever comes to your hands, you will see how to put it to good use. Otherwise, you will see how to use it for your benefit and obviously to somebody else's detriment. So, Panchamunda, if it's happening in your neighborhood, Saumyanath, is there a Rudranath next door? So don't explore such things. If it's just a book exploration, leave it there. Do not even go to such places because there are some situations that you can walk into, but you will not know how to walk out of. Please.
Namaskaram Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
I am Kalpana from Ghaziabad. My question is, in one of video of Sadhguru exclusive, you have talked of enlightened in energy and rising of consciousness as two separate processes. Are they related or not? If yes, how are they related? Can you elaborate on these more? And does one know when one is enlightened in energy? Pranam.
Namaskaram, ma. Well, let us probably the word enlightened is causing a little bit of misunderstanding in people. We could use many other terms. We can say realized, we can say liberated, many things like that. So the purpose of sadhana, the purpose of daily sadhana is to bring our energies to a certain level of… because we have used this word, I'll stick to it, to a certain level of enlightenment. That means your energy body is lit. It is lit means there are no dark spaces. There are no dark spaces means there is nothing that is not in your awareness as far as the energy body is concerned. That means it does what you want. If your energy body does what you want, you would definitely, naturally, without even thinking about it, you would create health and you would create blissfulness. You don't have to think about it, you don't have to aspire for it. This is a natural aspiration. Body wants to be healthy, experientially we want to be in the most pleasant state, so this will be a natural consequence. Just because you're healthy and blissful does not mean that your consciousness has risen. Because the English word consciousness means many things to many people, but essentially the scientists, physical sciences, people, experts in the region, have openly agreed it is something that is there but we don't know how to figure out because they want to measure it. They are physical scientists. Everything has to be measured, everything has to be quantified. Otherwise, they don't know how to explore that aspect. If something is not visible, if something is not measurable, if something doesn't have a weight, or if it doesn't have any kind of odor, then they don't know how to deal with that. They're saying we don't know how to deal with it, but it seems to be there. This is I'm simplifying the thing, but this is the general conclusion that physical scientists in the world have drawn, that there is something like consciousness, but we don't know what it is, where it is, how it is, so we have a question mark, is it there or not? Because if I can't see it, maybe it's not there. So only people in Delhi know there is air. Here the ignorant people in Isha Yoga Center do not know whether there is air or not, because they have never seen it. So so this aspect of that you refer to as consciousness, in logical terms, it is just an unnecessary complication. So don't think about it, leave it alone. You just keep your energy body lit, mind is sweet, body is vibrant and healthy, leave it there, just live. Once you're like this, you will see, you have no particular aspiration. You will do whatever is needed in the world. Whatever is needed, we will do that. There is no personal aspirations. Once you are like this, it will come. It has to come. This is like saying, we planted a mango tree, we planted a mango seed, it sprouted, it grew up, many leaves came, years passed. Energetically, everything is nice, the tree is healthy, vibrant, no fruit yet. You don't worry, you just nurture the plant and wait. One day, fruit will land on your head, even if you're not looking up. Anyway, it will come. So if you are energetically enlightened, this is what sadhana is about. This is what daily sadhana is about, to bring your energies to a place where they are lit and balanced. With this, body and mind is taken care of, then engage in something. Either close your eyes and sit, or be active in the world. Whichever way, there is nothing here that entangles you. There is nothing here that really engages you, but because you're vibrant and alive and you're blissful, you will do what is needed. Fruit will come. If you try to extract the fruit, it will not happen that way. You just have to wait. Keep yourself in this condition, don't lose it. Just keep it that way and wait. It will happen.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. My name is Sarin and I'm from Malaysia. And my question to you is, I have seen devotees getting, in quotes, possessed by the guardian deities of the temple, and they perform extraordinary things. Most of the time it happens unconsciously, but some devotees are capable of doing it consciously. Could you please explain the science behind this possession? Thank you and namaskar.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear it.
Can you hear me here? Well, there's a downpour outside. We're missing it sitting in this hall. If you go outside, you will be possessed by water because it's raining heavy. Well, if you go outside, you had been to the marketplace and while you are coming, it started raining. So you feel the rain possessed you. As soon as you come, But if I let you go now, many of you will go out and dance in the rain, You're not possessed by the rain. So you call something a possession only when you're unwilling. A devotee means he is willingness personified. He is embodied willingness, absolutely willing. So when one is willing, if you're occupied by what you're devoted to, you don't say you've been possessed. It is a live-in partnership. Living inside the same body, another force, another entity or another form of energy starts living with you. You're also one form of energy, but let us say an energy which is little more vibrant than you or much more vibrant than you entered your system and stayed for a period of time. If you have done enough work with your physical body, with your energy body and also psychologically you're in a good place, then you can sit like this and be in nameless ecstasies. If you're not prepared for it, you did not prepare your body, nor your mind, definitely not the energy system, then rolls all over the street and, you know, all kinds of things. But still, the power of that occupation still visible in so many ways. Well, I've had this… I know this… the social media world can cut this piece and get me into all kinds of controversy, but I've had many live-in relationships. Not living somewhere with somebody, living in them, living in the same body, cohabiting within the same body. When the divine cohabits with you, well, life gets elevated in many ways. Perceptionally, one thing you will see with such people who have allowed such things to happen to them, they become perceptive. But unfortunately, social idea of perception is somebody has to tell you when your daughter will get married. I think in another 25 years, this prediction will be meaningless, I believe. In the last century, at least in India, one of the most important predictions that you need to make is when your daughter will get married. The next important prediction you need to make is whether a son will be born or a daughter will be born. I think these things are becoming irrelevant, such predictions won't sell anymore, so they have to dig deeper, all right? Because people are looking for variety of things now. When this will happen, that will happen. When will I get free Wi-Fi? I don't think you can do that with this, but enhanced perception can happen, that suddenly that person starts seeing things. I've witnessed some really super perceptive people who are in those states, particularly women. This is all… unfortunately, this culture is going away. Otherwise, in India it was common, including my great-grandmother. The women would be sitting in one small little temple of their own. Maybe not even a deity, one photograph of Chamundeshwari or Bhairavi or Durga or something like this, and a woman will be sitting and she will be just doing some simple puja, something. Once in a way, in the evenings usually when people assemble, she'll do a puja and then she will go into that. I've seen these things happening. that, things that there is no way they can know about people who are sitting there. Just like that, she starts saying all kinds of things about people, that their names and where they come from and what they're doing and what will happen and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Everything she'll just one in stream of litany. Simply, she just goes on like this for 10-15 minutes and then she sits there totally exhausted. Then all the devotees come and give her a glass of milk and wash her feet and massage her legs and all these kind of things, because they know she's gone through a certain level of stress in the system to rise to that level of perception. So, these things are there, but if possession is the word you like to use, I'm possessing a lot of people, but I will not go unless I'm exhorted. There must be an exhortation, otherwise no visitation. This may… I know, a whole lot of people will go into all kinds of tantrums with these kind of things, but it is a living reality for many people that such visitations or occupations happen, and after that they're never the same again. In many ways, their physical condition, psychological condition has changed permanently, and above all, if they simply sit, there are nameless ecstasies going on. You must understand, this is a kind of liberation. If you sit here and for no reason, if you're ecstatic, just see from how many things you're freed right now. How many entanglements in your life are gone. If you can simply sit here, eyes closed and be totally blissed out. How many things are gone? Alcohol is gone, drugs are gone, sexuality is gone, marriage is gone probably. Simply if you sit here, boom. So, it is not always for the same purpose, for different purposes. So these deities which are enshrined in a certain way, they have this capability. If you go and sit in Dhyana Linga, he obliterates you, he doesn't occupy you, because he's not interested in you being shaking with ecstasy, he's not interested. He just wants to obliterate you. You go sit in the Devi temple, happening. She's like you. So, this is a science which is referred to as Parakaya Pravesha. But normally, Parakaya Pravesha, people have been started describing this as that possessing somebody else's body completely. That is, if somebody is dead, you leave your body here and enter their body and do some magical stuff. No. You sitting here, you can still enter. Not only human bodies, even other life. It is very much possible. And there have been many cases where certain animals living around certain temples have exhibited strange sense of humanity, or what most human beings lack, that level of humanity. Some animals have displayed simply because they always existed around a particular temple. There are any number of stories like this. There are any number of situations like this. So, only thing is you should not call it a possession, I don't like that. You possess something forcefully. But when you're exhorted, when you're invited and their life depends on it, then you occupy, not for good, for some time till they need that nourishment. After that it may not be needed. Some may need it for longer periods, some may need it just touch and go, it depends. But if you're not touched by anything other than your own hands, that's a poor life.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
I am Anurag from Lucknow, and my question is, can disembodied beings walk or fly? If yes, then what speed they can travel and what range they can travel? If they want, can they travel places like Mars, the Moon, or some other spaces in universe, or are they just limited to Earth?
This disembodied beings all over Lucknow, what's happening, huh? So many killings, there must be disembodied beings. Well, so this is the whole… this is the fundamental thing that you need to understand. When you try to logically figure out another dimension of life which is not in your experience yet, what do? You only try in some way to relate it to the dimension in which you exist right now. Because you walk and you've seen birds fly, you only mentioned those two, but you did not say, can they crawl? No, that is too lowly. Walk, all right, mundane, fly, exotic. Zoom around, what speed? If it's Mach 7, it's really good. Well, if it is 10 kilometers per hour, bullock cart, no good. Don't go by these things, this is not the way to look at it. See, you're talking about a disembodied being, like it is some kind of object. Are your grandparents alive? Only one alive. Who is not alive?
My grandfather is not alive.
Okay. Now we are talking about your grandfather. When we say disembodied being, we're talking about your grandfather. So if your grandfather appeared, you don't ask him, will you fly? Can you fly? Can you walk? At what speed will you fly? You're just overwhelmed that he's appeared, isn't it? So now you've become a seeker, so these kind of questions have come, it's all right. And maybe… what are you? Engineering student, huh?
Engineering aspirant.
Engineering aspirant. So probably you're trying to find a new technology which can make something fly. Just now I heard they're coming up with an airplane which can travel at 3,000 miles per hour, and they can do London, New York in 90 minutes. So maybe you're looking at coming up with something which can do it in 9 minutes. Suppose you understand how the disembodied beings fly and what speed, because they can appear there and here in just a moment. Because when there is no body, there is no distance. Hello? Distance is always between two objects, isn't it so? Hello? Speed is relevant only when there is distance, otherwise what is speed? Hello? What is the value of speed if there is no distance? And how will distance be when there is no physicality? So, when you say disembodied, you're talking about non-physical. Non-physical means there is no physical means no distance means speed is irrelevant. So they don't fly. Do they crawl? Do they walk? They don't do anything. Do they choose to go to Mars or moon? Depends whether they are male or female. Your grandfather must be Mars. No. They don't have the significance of you being alive here right now is… the most significant aspect of your existence right now is you have a discerning mind. This discerning mind is torturing human beings into various levels of suffering because they are like little children who's been given a big machine in which they're chopping up their hands and every limb that they have. Yes, if you had half a brain, most people would have been happy, at least peaceful. But so much brain and so much intelligence, they're suffering like anything, simply because they do not know how to exercise their discerning mind. The discerning dimension of their mind, they do not know how to take charge of it. A powerful machine like this starts doing its own things and creates havoc with people's lives. So if you have a discerning mind, only then certain possibilities are open to you. That is, you can decide whether you want to go to moon or Mars, because you have a discerning mind. Once you don't have that, there is no such thing as moon and Mars. There's no such thing. Only if you can discern, there is this and that. If there is no discerning, there is no this and that. You can arrive at this state of no this and that out of rising of your consciousness, or you can arrive at it because you completely lost it. Both ways you can arrive at it. This is why they say, rest in peace. These days I see people I tell somebody that, somebody very dear to me passed away, they send a message, R.I.P. I said, what, you want to rip them? No, rest in peace, short form. R.I.P. I said, okay. So they say rest in peace because if you attain, when you're alive, you become very peaceful. But if you die, also you become peaceful. When you realize the full potential of who you are, you become peaceful. When all potential is taken away from you, then also you become peaceful. But they are not the same. The peacefulness of death and peacefulness of enlightenment are not the same. One is living peace, another is dead peace. Well, when your torture in the mind becomes so much, even the peacefulness of death becomes attractive sometimes. So many unfortunate happenings every day. Thousands of people in the world every day are committing suicide. More people committed suicide in some countries than the number of COVID deaths they had in 2020. Because cannot take the torture of the mind. So peace comes with death. Peace comes with attainment also. So similarly, when you become disembodied, what it means is, as far as the world is concerned, you died. So, let us not discuss them there like some academic subject. We're talking about your grandfather and maybe my grandfather and my father and everybody, all right? So many people dear to each other. So, we don't care how fast they can travel, whether they will go to moon or Mars. Most of the time, people who love them always ask, Sadhguru, are they well? Is my father okay? This is the question that comes, not at what speed they can travel, all right? But you are an engineering aspirant, what to do? It's all right, they don't travel because they have no discerning mind. They have no intent to go anywhere. They have tendencies. Because of tendencies, they drift here and there. If your grandfather loved Lucknow, he may be hanging around Lucknow. If he hated Lucknow, he might have drifted down Sarayu and gone somewhere. We don't know. So, because whether it's your grandfather or anybody's grandfather, once they've lost their body, they've also lost their discerning mind. This is the greatest loss that a human being can have, because now you lost your intent. If you lose your intent out of devotion, if you lose your intent out of an absolute sense of abandon, that's fantastic. But you lost your intent because you lost your mind. That's not a good place to be. You lost your intent because you're enslaved to some idea or emotion. That's not a good place to be. You lost your intent simply out of unconsciousness. That is not a good place to be. Only if you lose your intent to total sense of abandon or ecstasy or devotion, then it is a beautiful loss. If you become peaceful, what it means is, the daily turmoil of life is gone. Daily turmoil of life is gone simply because it does not determine who you are, what's happening around you, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your mind does not anymore determine who you are. If this happens out of realization or enlightenment, it's a very fantastic place to be. If you're in such a place, you will not want to go anywhere in great speed. Definitely not. Or even if you become disembodied and settled into some kind of peaceful state, you still don't want to go anywhere. And above all, destinations will not exist. This is the privilege of a human being. When you're conscious and alive and conscious, no, I'm just correcting the order. When you're alive and conscious, you can determine the destination. This is the privilege that only a human being holds. This must be exercised with utmost responsibility. Don't worry about their destinations. They will roll around here and there. Some are pleasant, some are unpleasant, but they will roll around here and there and find their way as per the natural laws of life. We are the only ones who are here, who can be above the natural laws of life and determine our own destination. This is not something that any other creature can do. This is why being human is so significant, that you can determine the nature, the quality and the direction in which this will go is in your hands. This is not a small privilege.
Namaskaram Sadhguru, this is Bhanu Sharma from Ludhiana city of Punjab. I have question. You have talked about Adi Yogi many times as Yaksha Swarupa. Could you elicit from where he came? Can we assume that he was being sent by people from other planets or even previous universes? Was he sent on mission for spreading spirituality on earth? Pranam.
You have seen at least artist's version of his images, even those images. Does he look like somebody who can be sent by somebody somewhere? Does he look like that? Does he look like a nice good boy like you, that they can be sent somewhere? He is not that kind. You know, this was a encounter that I first encountered only when I went to Lebanon. How many Lebanese are here? What happened? They're all gone. Huh? Lebanese are here, yeah. Well, one question that repeatedly came to me when they find a private moment, Sadhguru, are you a messenger? Are you the Messiah? I said, do I look like somebody's messenger? I have no messages in my pockets. If you're willing, I am the message. The way I am is the message. This is not coming from arrogance. If you are steeped in a certain culture, then you think something is very valuable and you believed it for a long time. Now if somebody counters that, it looks like they are arrogant. For example, for your information, in Tibet, in the Middle East or in West Asia as we call it, a messiah or a messenger is a big title. In India, we don't think of much of messengers. But in Tibet, the highest title that somebody gets is a translator. How's that? Marpa, the translator. Because for them, knowledge came through translation. People came down to India, learned the local language, took the scriptures and interpreted it in their language and took it back and translated it to their people. So always knowledge came through the translator. So, Marpa, the translator, it's the highest title. These days you have seen movies, Terminator, accountant and whatever, transporter. Hello? Where there is no transport, transporter becomes the highest value. Where there is no translation, translator becomes the highest value. Where there is no knowledge, a messenger who brings something becomes the highest value. Well, Adiyogi is not the messenger type. And can you hear me? It's okay? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Good? So, These questions are coming because, you know, from from encounters of the third kind to Roswell to many other things that have happened in recent times, the movies and the books are giving you this idea that life elsewhere will behave the same way as you do. The nature of creation is such, life elsewhere may not have anything to do with you. And why should I say elsewhere? Other aspects or other dimensions of life can be right here, and you have no clue. They are also going about their exclusive and we are going about our own exclusive in the same space, and you will never collide with them because they will never collide with you. Sometimes they may be smarter than you, sometimes dumber than you, sometimes very different, sometimes a little reasonable similarities, things like this. So, Adiyogi definitely referred to as Yaksha Swarupa. Yaksha means originally it means a being from another existence. Another existence can be elsewhere as you think today. If you think physically, it's elsewhere, or another existence can be right here, superimposed upon this. But they did not belong to the three-dimensional realm in which we are all existing. Today there is speculation in the scientific community that in other parts of creation, they are estimating in this Milky Way, in our Milky Way, the vegans can call it something else. Hello? If you're allergic to milk, you can call it something else, but it's called Milky Way. So in our Milky Way, it's estimated that there could be up to 300 million planets which have similar conditions as planet Earth in terms of its carbon content, and that water could be either in ponds or lakes or in rivers flowing upon that planet. There could be 300 million planets like this. But are all of them conducive for life? Has life really evolved there? What sort of life? We do not know. Now there is speculation that maybe other lives are not carbon-based. You are a carbon copy, you know that. Hello? Hello? Fortunately, your father and mother comes together to produce you. Though you're carbon copy, you look little different. Suppose only one father or mother produce children by themselves, then it would be ditto, 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 ditto for 10,000 generations of people. Hello? But still you're a carbon copy because you're carbon life. Why life on this planet has become carbon-based whether it's a plant or an animal or a human being or just about anything, is carbon-based is because carbon is the only atom which is able to, in its molecular form, engage with multiple atoms or molecules at the same time. Because of that complexity, it has become the base of all life. So you're essentially carbon. Even if you're white, if we burn you, you become black. I remain about the same color. I know advantages of skin color. So, the life elsewhere need not be in any way that you imagine life is, because your imaginations are all rooted in your experience of life here. You have no memory of anything else, so there is no way you can imagine something else. But from what we have known, what we have experienced, what little we have been able to explore, we have seen life around Kailash, Manasarovar area that we encountered, and we at one time we conducted experiments with that, and certain people also experienced some powerful processes. Well, from that experience, we have arrived at this great knowledge that we don't know a damn thing. Yes. I've been thinking of going and exploring this, but somewhere I know if I go, I may not come back. So I think it's not yet time for that. Already I've lost many things to you. I think today morning I just wrote a poem. I was sending a book to somebody, The Eternal Echoes, so I had to write this. It's called Heartless. Poems are bits of one's heart. Poems are bits of one's heart. Having showered all my bits upon you and everyone, here I am, heartless but whole. Having showered all my bits upon you and everyone, here I am, heartless but whole. So, I already lost my heart, I don't want to lose my brains. But I feel if I go there exploring these things, I may not only lose my brains, I will lose my body also. That is what I have clearly sensed. They have no intention of yielding, but they are willing to take you in. So, not yet ready to go. So do not ever think that… do not put Adiyogi in the category of messengers or translators who came from elsewhere. He is a force by himself. He cannot be sent by anybody. And he has no message. That's a message. Shiva, nothing. And that is the basis. When you transcend your somethingness and touch what right now feels like nothing, not really nothing, but what right now feels and looks like nothing, that is the foundation of mysticism. So those of you who are real seekers, and if you're not faint-hearted as the ads have been saying, if you really want to pursue this, at least the simplest thing that you must do is, you must go through a samyama. Samyama is not mysticism per se, but that tool is very essential to simply be able to sit. But Sadhguru, you have not conducted samyama in the last 2 years. Don't accuse me. I am not the one who created the virus. Just before the virus closed in, we did one samyama, and then it closed in a big way. But now it looks like it's relieving, we will do that. But till then, one simple thing you can do is… Oh. But the problem is, this is the largest hall we have. This is the largest hall we have, Adiyogi Alayam. Maximum it will take is 1100 people. We crowd them a little bit, 1200 people. That's it. But right now, if you open the registration, there will be 10,000 to 15,000 people registering for samyama. Well, never before probably that many people have strived. Even after me threatening continuously, samyama will break your back, samyama will… people will maul you, and I'm going to do this to you, do that to you. In spite of that, all the seekers being fired to be there is fantastic. But till then, you just spend at least 20 minutes to 40 minutes a day looking at nothing with eyes open. Simply looking at nothing. If you look at nothing too close, you will get headache. If you do 16 to 18 inches, something else will happen, don't do all that. Simply, let's say, 5, 6, 10 feet away, look at nothing. In the background, of course, there'll be something, there is a wall, there are people, maybe there is a sky, maybe there's a building. Ignore that. Just 8 feet away, look at that nothing, simply. Don't try to make meanings out of it. Don't see Shiva Parvati dancing. Those who have seen too many romantic movies, don't do all that. Simply looking at nothing. Because you have to enhance the power of looking, not looking at something. You have to enhance the faculty of looking, just looking. No need to look at anything, simply nothing. Because it's important, your looking is beyond what you want. Your looking is beyond what your mind says is interesting or beautiful or whatever else. You're simply learning to look. If you practice this, it will help. We will definitely have samyama, and also we will also open up various practices, but I don't know if you're hearing, you're able to hear me? So one thing is, I've tried to increase the number of people involved. I thought the girls are too talkative, so I involved many male members of the community, but they are equally talkative. It's a news for you. They talk more than you. One little thing you do with them, they'll talk all over the place. No, Sadhguru, I only told my dearest friend. It is not about whether you tell or not. It is just that you breach something and then you expect something to build up. It'll not work like that. So this 20th century social media population, you need to consolidate yourself. If you want to approach other aspects of life, it's very important there is a certain consolidation of who you are. You don't breach your mind, your emotion, your energetic body or even your physical body, you don't breach that, you bring a certain integrity to this so that when you build something, it will stay. If you breach it all over the place, by talking, by doing this, by doing that, well, then there'll be very few people who can even be approached. We would like to do it with larger number of people, we are trying to build infrastructure for that. We are starting the Kshetrajna program mainly with this purpose that people will more engage profoundly, not a lifetime of trying to be peaceful. That's stupid. All your life you work to be peaceful. You don't have to work all your life, when you die you will be peaceful. If you are peaceful at an early age and stay that way, that's fantastic. But you're working for a whole lifetime, learning how to be peaceful, this is a silly exploration. That is why so many people give up and they do other things to be peaceful. So this is very important for you to understand. The sadhana that you're doing here is not about you becoming peaceful after 25, 30 years. That must happen very quickly, and I don't even care if you're peaceful or not. I just want you stable. Hello? If you're a volcano, but you're a stable volcano, I'm okay. So this stability, this basic integrity about yourself, in your thought, in your emotion, in your actions, if you bring this, then this is not out of reach. With the kind of energy that we have invested here, this is very simple and it should be available and possible for every one of you.
Nahi Shiva sneha, na tu Shiva prema, noyam dayavan karunakara, nava prarthayatam Shivam tava sukhaya, Shiva tu sampurna paripurnata hi Shiva. Nahi Shiva sneha, na tu Shiva prema, noyam dayavan karunakara, nava prarthayatam Shivam tava sukhaya, Shiva tu sampurna paripurnata hi Shiva. Shilagadha hridaye garvayuktasam, agato nena tada anahutam, hridayam tu me sravayat spandayadayam, sakala pranibhyah shilabhyascha nityam. Shilagadha hridaye garvayuktasam, agato nena tada anahutam, hridayam tu me sravayat spandayadayam, sakala pranibhyah shilabhyascha nityam. Nahi Shiva sneha, na tu Shiva prema, noyam dayavana karunakara, nava prarthayatam Shivam tava sukhaya, Shiva tu sampurna paripurnata hi Shiva. Vividhani tantrani shatadvadashani, vedayitumimam samsara pasham, chaturoham kintu tantra jale patam, na shaknomyaham kartum yat kimapi mayyam. Vividhani tantrani shatadvadashani, vedayitumimam samsara pasham, chaturoham kintu tantra jale patam, na shaknomyaham kartum yat kimapi mayyam. Nahi Shiva sneha, na tu Shiva prema, noyam dayavana karunakara, nava prarthayatam Shivam tava sukhaya, Shiva tu sampurna paripurnata hi Shiva. Shrutva sarvani madhurani vachanani, drishtva sarvani mahadarsanani, jnatva cha sarvani madhuchetanani, nashtoham tasya vaibhavena, anabhuvayam nanya asya samana. Shrutva sarvani madhurani vachanani, drishtva sarvani mahadarsanani, jnatva cha sarvani madhuchetanani, प्रेम नोऽयं दयावान् करुणाकरम् न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव विश्वासं मा कुरु निश्चल शिवम् अस्य निश्चलत्वेन आकृष्टोऽहम् अयमेव मार्गम् इति अमन्येऽहम् अवगतो अधुना अयमेव अन्त्यम् विश्वासं मा कुरु निश्चल शिवम् अस्य निश्चलत्वेन आकृष्टोऽहम् अयमेव मार्गम् इति अमन्येऽहम् अवगतो अधुना अयमेव अन्त्यम् न हि शिवस्नेह न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान् करुणाकर न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव शिलागाढहृदये गर्वयुक्तासम् आगतोऽनेन तदा अनाहूतम् हृदयं तु मे श्रावयत् स्पन्दयदयम् सकलप्राणिभ्यः शिलाभ्यश्च नित्यम् शिलागाढहृदये गर्वयुक्तासम् आगतोऽनेन तदा अनाहूतम् हृदयं तु मे श्रावयत् स्पन्दयदयम् सकलप्राणिभ्यः शिलाभ्यश्च नित्यम् न हि शिवस्नेह न तु शिवप्रेम नोऽयं दयावान् करुणाकरम् न वा प्रार्थयतं शिवं तव सुखाय शिव तु सम्पूर्णपरिपूर्णता हि शिव